It's upside down, but that's the book, volume 3 I'm reading. It's the last one. Yeah, I wasn't sure at first I'd like it. Then I ended up liking it. I showed you the mountain because instead of the sunset that some people come to see here, I like watching the shadow climb the mountain in whatever way is related to the background mountains behind me that I can't tell, that is also playing a part in the pattern of the climbing of the shadow. Today, there's a particular person that works here that I said, hey, there's that girl that I'm worried about. Didn't say her name. He thinks he knows who I'm talking about. Who is a student here, and I believe her life is in danger physically and mentally. And I think the college already knows, but they're not doing much. So I said, what I would do would be to, because I think she can keep up the good grades. She's in her mid-30s, and she's been around this school for a long time. This is kind of her way to hide from her life in her anxiety prison. And that she chooses for herself. Look at all the... Also, last night, there was a lot of they're starting now. These same kind of bugs, just not in swarms together, but kind of just all going in that direction. Towards the river. I don't know if they'll go down the side of the mountain towards the river. And these are not mosquitoes or bugs that have an interest in creatures like me. So they're starting now. You can see a few. But they were much more concentrated yesterday. So this guy, I tapped his shoulder. I said, so now you know, you don't want to have a student die on campus, but that's where she's headed right now. And, even if I spoke the language that they understand, which is the bottom line, money, it's not a human language, but it is that, hey, the risks of her dying because she's not getting the right kind of help. But, tuition fees are coming in, her grades are okay, but she might die here. Dying here will make your reputation very bad, which will lose a lot of money. So gambling on somebody's life each semester, that they don't continue down their path of self-destruction. Because I tried to help this lady, but I'm not the right fit, and she's not ready. But even if she's not ready, as she chooses this area to continue down her path that is self-destructive, is the people that agree to this, either consciously or not, should set some boundaries with her in the sense. She's very good at setting boundaries. I think she will understand them. And it is that if she wants to continue as a student, her grades should be okay. She can keep the housing that she has here without worrying about that anymore, because she's had stressful issues in this community with not enough housing for international students and very minimal support. Is make sure she sees a counselor as well, and also gets followed by a doctor for her health, just in case there are anything else as well. And also the doctor will just remonitor because her condition is quite severe, I would say. So I did my due diligence. I tried to make rapport on my own. I was not successful, and I could have tried different strategies, but I asked last time, should I stop visiting you? And she said yes. I'm not going to push, even though I would know how to help her. It's not going to work unless she wants to be helped, and I don't think she wants to. But the condition that this school can place on her can save her life while allowing a moderate, steady pace improvement, which she can handle at this time, by also providing her with a sense of security that she's not going to get kicked out if she agrees to this, and that she follows a plan that will be at her own pace if they do a good job, but that must show signs of improvement for her to stay as a student here. Now, what I'm going to do as a follow-up to this weekend or on Monday is find a guy's email that works here and send him the reference I got from Candace, and maybe also a letter of support I did for a student one time of my driving school. And Candace was the first year semester student when my professors in my master's degree were just overly ridiculous. I had to take a break from my master's and just do a 1 year, first year of geology class, which I'm quite happy I did. And met her and tutored her and mentored her, Candace, and she said it allowed her to not quit and help her career to attain her bachelor's. So it's a good reference in relation to this, that, I'm mindful of others. Well, I'm a learning specialist, so of course it's about the learning process. It's not about a subject. Like even though on my independent educator poster it says tutoring, I don't include my definition of my being a learning specialist. And in fact, I try not to unless I think somebody is like-minded. They won't be like behaved, but they'll be like-minded. Then I'll provide it to them. Because it does sound, because it's outside of the norm that somebody can claim this in a file that says, I guarantee this is who I am. It just doesn't exist in Canada, such a thing. And if somebody else claims to be, they're not going to be claiming it at the levels of assertiveness, transparency, and competence that I have anyways. So it sounds, when people meet competent people and they sell it, they want to judge them right away without needing to do their due diligence and collect the data that they are who they say they are. So that means it's a human right violation, and I get it from pretty much everybody here. But still, I'm hanging out here making connections, and when they lose me, people will notice, because people here and there, at the store here or at the library or at the gymnasium, they'll notice, hey, where'd Martin go? I'll send him an email. Well, it is that your community lost me. I did my due diligence to say, hey, I'm here. I exist as who I am. I would like to be of service at every level, student, staff, even unions, if they're ready to realize that they're more part of the problem than the solution in this day and age. I would help them as well. When you have this kind of support in a broken culture, you don't have to break down the culture and rebuild it from scratch or rebuild something different. If there's enough people that say, hey, we need to fix our own culture, then yes, collaborations are always more fruitful than competitions or conflict that is not necessarily required, right? Because conflict is often people that aren't going deep down enough in their discussions to realize that they really do want the same thing. They must recommit to this together as a group, and then suddenly realize how behaviors, priorities, values, courses of action will reflect differently after there's these new. So if you want a definition of, mediation or conflict resolution, often is finding the common ground, which there usually is, because we evolved on this planet through collaborations that are programmed in our brain, and our brains are very similar. It's the concepts of domestication that make us fall down these apparent traps of division, right? Or we think, no, I believe in this, or I want this, or this is the way it should be. But then when you tap into the altruism that is there, because altruism was required for the collaboration and cooperation of life to evolve where we are at today, and it's still very deep in our brain, is you realize you can have that. Or if you have it extremely like that, then others don't. So that means you can't claim to be somebody that's for freedom of choice or freedom of speech, or you can't claim this affiliation or that affiliation. Otherwise, you are easily exposed as an hypocrite who doesn't even know they're being a hypocrite. That means they're not well up here, which is the norm. And the norm can be cured with these conversations, or at least a little bit more cured, if they go deep down and find that altruism as a group, as a supportive group. A life skills coach can help do that. And then say, hey, if this is really what we want, let's write it at the top here and see how every bracket under here would get manifested. You're in this department, you're in this department, this is your priority, you're already on this project. Well, this project would look a little bit more like this if we all have our common priority of what is right, let's say in the realms of education, if we are, let's say, student-centered, and we can be student-centered and still have a job here and receive a paycheck. So to understand these things requires honest, transparent, and philosophical conversations, which I'm capable of not only having, but initiating, which is an example of what I did in a very short conversation before a fiddling concert today.